All right, so we thought they weren't losing the rest of the year. Yep, and now we're let down. Tough one for the Red Sox last night, but they'll be off on Thursday, and then they get ready for a big road trip taking on the Padres. That starts on Friday night. It's a revenge series for Don Orsillo. Welcome to Red Sox Now. Mike Antonellis with you. It's presented by FanArt here on YouTube. We, of course, want you to subscribe to the channel. Leave your fantastic comments. We're getting over 60, 70, sometimes 100 comments a day. I try to get to all of them. I really do try. And I will be with the Woo Sox this weekend as one of their radio and TV broadcasters, as you know. Thursday they play a 12:05 game. I will not be there on Thursday, but I will be there the rest of the weekend, including a Sunday start from Peyton Tolley. So we'll get the scouting report. We'll write some notes. And I don't do that, but I'll be on the TV call Sunday. So I'll let you guys know, and gals, Monday, how everything looked. He met the media yesterday. He's excited about it. And good times, right? Good times. So the Red Sox got off to an early lead. I thought Michael Wacha was terrific. He is. So if you watched that game last night, this is why I think the old school people get mad about when you hear it's all about velocity and extension, all these other things. What does Michael Wacha do? He's got a 3.36 ERA. You can tell me he's 6-9 all you want. 18 of 23 starts, I believe they've scored 3 runs or less. Something crazy. The guy knows how to pitch. That's old school. That works. Up in the zone, down in the zone. And I thought, we'll get to Roman Anthony, but I do want to single him out. We'll get to the contract, but I want to point out one thing about him. If you watch that at bat he had against Wacha, where I think he saw 2 changeups right out of the gate, and Wacha was really throwing him, pitching him like a star. And then Anthony hit that ball to Yastrzemski, which would have been a homer in 29 parks, the one to right field. But that at bat by Roman Anthony has got to tell you a lot. And it tells you a lot about what Wacha thinks of him. But I just thought watching him, that still works. The old school pitching. You don't need velocity. His 93, 94 plays because he just is really, really good. I really miss that guy on our roster. But hey, I've seen a few irrational tweets already this morning. I mean, come on. I still think Kansas City's a good club. That's a pretty good homestand. You went 5-1, and you got off to the lead. Romy Gonzalez, is he playing himself into more of a role? He might be. People just kind of leave him out, right? We're looking for first baseman from some people's eyes, and they just keep saying, well, it's got to be someone else because he can't hit right-handers. Well, pretty good game last night. He looked pretty good against Wacha. 2 for 4, 2 more doubles. Well, long term, he won't be good. Well, we don't know that. I mean, we just assume a lot. Trevor Story had 2 more hits. Bregman, Duran, and Connor Wong had hits in the loss. Dustin May was a mixed bag. I didn't think he was that sharp early. When I was watching this, I'm saying, man, this is going to be probably a short outing. Like, he was getting through it. Wasn't horrible. Wasn't great. A lot of time off is never good for a pitcher. Threw too many pitches. Believe it or not, 61 of 91 for strikes. That's not bad. But he just couldn't really get through a lot of the innings without going, deep into counts, even 2-2, and then a lot of foul balls. So we'll see the next one. I'm not going to throw away Dustin May after one start. That'd be nuts to do. Let's see how it goes. He's the 5th starter. Yeah, so I mean, 5th starter, you get 4 or 5 innings nowadays. Starting pitchers don't go a lot. I think so. Expectations have changed, right? Because if you get 7 from your number 1, you're happy, right? Because they're not going 9 anymore. So you go lower down in the rotation, you get 5. You'll take that. I thought Murphy looked great. I know he hit a couple batters. His stuff is really good. If you watch the swings, this is what a lot of baseball people have taught me over the years, the coaches. Look at the swings. They tell you everything you need to know about the pitcher. You had a swing and miss when a ball hit the batter. Pascal Antonio, I think, struck out. I believe it was him. And it hit him, which counts as a strikeout. If you swing and the ball hits your hands, it counts as a swing. It's not a hit by pitch. So I thought he was good. He got out of that situation where he hit a couple batters. Hicks, I thought the stuff was okay. In the zone a lot, and then he gave up the 3-run homer to India over the monster. So I know people want him out, and then Campbell closed it out with 2 innings of work. We'll get to that on the news and notes today because I have some thoughts on how they're probably going to play the rest of the season. We're 116 games in, and the Red Sox need my magic number, 26 and 20 to get to 90 wins. I think that gets you in the playoffs, and no one would have thought of that. Speaking of no one would have thought, you know what? I really hope this happens just because so many people were so angry with Craig Breslow. So I sometimes like to see things happen that are so contrarian. He really has a legit chance at winning Executive of the Year. I mentioned that to someone yesterday. They told me I was crazy. I go, how am I crazy? No one expected them to be this good, and there's still a lot of season left. If they get 90 wins and are in the playoffs and maybe win a round, I certainly think he could. I don't really know a lot of the criteria. I'm sure it's a kind of rotating thing. The Toronto executive would probably be right up there. Milwaukee's executive, I believe, just won it, so sometimes they don't do that. But if you looked at all the playoff teams right now, if you asked a mutual, like a fan, not a mutual, neutral, confused a little bit, out of the 12 teams right now that are playoff teams, I don't think you'd be surprised with Mets, San Diego, Cubs, Dodgers, even Milwaukee. Milwaukee's been good, and Philly. If you went in the AL and said the playoff teams are Toronto, Detroit, Houston, Boston, Seattle, New York, I don't think there's a lot of Boston being the leader. That would be the most surprising team if you asked. I think maybe Houston too. I mean, what Houston has done with a lot of guys that they've let go, but they have the pitching. But the moves that the Red Sox made in the offseason and this was terrific. It's amazing the perspective that people had. Jim Bowden said this was a crazy deal. He left too much money on the table. It can be up to $230 million. There's a lot of escalators, as they say. They love that word. A lot of things, MVP, Rookies of the Year, things that... But did you watch the press conference? Roman Anthony wants to be here. It's a lot of what he wants to do. And it's okay if he didn't take a weight. This is what Roman Anthony wants to do. He wants to, and it's amazing how many people have not talked about this. Because we are just so entrenched in like ownerships of all sports and all things being wrong. It's weird. It's kind of a weird time. And I do get some of it, but I don't take Vladimir Guerrero's situation or any other situation and compare it to this. This is completely different. Roman Anthony is pretty tight already with a lot of people in the organization. His best friend is in the organization. He loves the city he's in. These things matter to players. He loves Boston. He loves Fenway. He's playing in Fenway. He loves his teammates. He loves Alex Cora. He loves the entire organization, player development. He wants to be here. Why can't that be put ahead of the money? He got $130 million. I think he's going to be a superstar. But where's the risk? The risk is in the ownership. No. Yes, it is. It's not I hope it's a slam dunk. It's still not a slam dunk. Do I think he's going to be a superstar? I do. But I don't have the risk. right? The ownership still has to trust Breslow, his player development people, and they're writing a check for $130 million for someone that hasn't even played a half a year. But I think that was smart because I think he could be like Trout. Maybe not, on the stealing basis. But yes, I do believe he's going to be the face of the franchise, but none of us have to risk anything. Giving a guy that kind of deal and that kind of commitment, and they've given a lot of young players, there's still some risk. You know how many people say to me, why did they give Christian Campbell that money? I mean, because they trust their people. And this is smart. It's not cheap. You're going to hear this from all the loudmouths, and I already heard it yesterday, and it was a viral clip. It's from people who are looking for ratings and clicks, and they have no clue what they're talking about. It's smarter for this reason, and I have a great example. Mike Trout. That was some foreshadowing there. That's a movie term. Did the Angels handle this right in the contract they got? Oh, yeah, they did. They gave him $427 million in 2019. Do you think that's a smart deal for the Angels? Because starting in 2020, Mike Trout's making $37 million through 2030. Do we think he's going to survive? Do you think that contract made sense for them? It could. He's been hurt a ton. He's older. You're going to have, maybe in those final 3 or 4 years, he's going to have to be on your club at $37 million. That, to me, what the Angels did in the kind of the old school way of paying younger players was cheap. What are you talking about, Mike? Because you have control of these guys for 6 years. It's very simple. You can just look this up. And I've talked about this a lot. Where the Red Sox screwed up was they did not commit to Mookie in 2014, right when he was called up. Because we all knew this was going to happen. You get him on smaller deals, and then when he's a free agent, he's going to ask for a bag. He's going to ask for the money that he should have earned. That's what Trout did. And I have the example. Mike Trout through 2012 through 2016 was the Rookie of the Year, MVP twice, and MVP runner-up twice. Silver Slugger all the years. All-Star all the years. You want to know his salaries? $500,000, $500,000, $1 million, $6 million, $16 million. They paid him $24 million over those years. That's a lot of money. No, it's not. It's not a lot of money for that kind of production. So you basically got him, and let's pick out a year. 41 homers, 326, 323, 49 steals. His best seasons, most of his best seasons happened when you weren't paying him. So then when he gets a chance to negotiate, he wants all that money that he should have had. That's not good business. If you would have given him that money right away, in 2012 and given him $16 to $20 million, then maybe when he renegotiates, it's 20 like 25. It's just when you don't give certain guys like Trout and Mookie money early when they're performing like superstars, that doesn't leave a great taste. And you can tell the Red Sox don't want to do that. And that's the Braves model. The Braves have been doing that. It's better business with your players. And it helps you, like, think about this. And here's where it's changed with spending. A lot of you I get notes about what they spent in 04 and 05, and the game has changed dramatically in the last few years, where Jackson Chourio got a bag before he played a game. Jackson Merrill got a lot of money. A lot of guys are getting money before their second year. It's changed. So yes, the money will be less. This is what I've always wanted to see. The Braves started doing this, and I'm like, now it's harder to do this with the Red Sox because guys who are in this system sometimes won't agree to this because the Red Sox are like a bank. So if you're in the Red Sox system or the Yankee system, I think that's if Ronald Acuna was here, he's not taking that deal. He's making $17 million a year. There's no way if he's in this organization, he's playing ball a little bit different. Whether that's fair or not, that's just reality. The Red Sox have money, Yankees have money, Dodgers have money. They play differently. But now you lock up a lot of guys where do you want to worry about in year 6 guys going to free agency? And they've bought all these guys out. This is smarter. And like I said, the Red Sox have more younger players that are good enough right away to play than I've seen in a long time. This wasn't not the case 20 years ago, or maybe even 10 to this level. It's changing now. They cut a level in the minor leagues. I can tell you this from working in the minor leagues. AAA used to be a lot of veterans. It's not as much. We are very young in AAA since I've been in it. And even before, it's changed. Peyton Tolley has his first year and he's in AAA. That never would have happened. Everything is accelerated, and a lot of it is business. But it is the players. Business of getting guys. A lot of the teams that don't spend money, they want these guys that are quicker so that they can, because they know they're going to lose them. The Red Sox don't have to worry about that. They can keep whoever they want. But this is much smarter. The game is, you have to look at how the business end of it now. You weren't giving out the Crochet deal, even Rafaela. That was not happening that long ago. Because there's risk, right? Campbell might not work out, and they'll have to eat that. That's what a lot of other owners are afraid of, in the smaller markets. But you have to kind of adjust your glasses and your lens to what is going on now. And that's why I've talked about, if you don't think the ownership is committed to winning now, you can have a lot of fair arguments about, that's fine. I'll give you that. Even though I don't solely believe in it, I still will always believe the biggest fault of ownership was changing the leader. You can't do that. You just can't. It doesn't work. It doesn't work in any sport, in any business. But they have now, you have to turn the page at some point. I get the same messages about ownership over and over, and it's like it was written by the same person. It's scary. I don't know where you, I think people hear that, but you have to at some point get over things because it's exhausting I'll be honest with you, it's exhausting to listen to over and over. If you don't think this ownership is committed to winning this year, you're just blind. They have now spent almost $500 million from the offseason with all these extensions. If you don't think they're committed to winning, it doesn't correlate to what they've done. Chapman, Bregman, Crochet, this does not correlate to winning. Campbell, they're spending now. So it's okay to say, okay, maybe they realized they were making mistakes, realized they have to do better things. It's okay to say that. But this is committed to winning. This is a lot. And they're not done. There's other guys they're talking to. Trust me on this. And I don't know, maybe I'm different, but I don't care about what Roman Anthony left on the table or what other guys. I don't know why there's so many discussions. That was the immediate discussion. Oh, the escalators are unrealistic. And he got $130 million. He's making $475,000 right now. I don't think he's unhappy. He's going to get, and if he plays like we think, he's going to get a bag, and it's probably going to work out better for him. He could probably get $500 to $600 million. It's probably going to be that in 8 years. And if he does, this is a really good deal and a great day in Red Sox Nation. I know we're going a little long here. Let's just get to some news and notes quick before we get to your comments, which were outstanding. The Narvaez injury is concerning to me. I don't know if they're trying not to say a lot about it, but the fact he's getting tested on his knee, yeah. And again, I know a lot of you were wondering what the heck was going on at the trade deadline. Did they try? For catcher, they might have. We just see, this is the thing, we don't know. We have no idea. They brought in Chadwick Tromp, who has got some big league time. He's a backup, and they have Sebi Zavala in AAA. Those aren't great options. I don't know of a team, and maybe you can leave this in the comments. I don't know of a team in baseball right now that has this amazing catcher situation where they could lose one and then just call up one from AAA, and then they have two. I don't know that. I think the Mets might have something similar to that. I haven't looked into that deeply, but I'd have to imagine if most teams lost their starting catcher, that situation is not better than this one, to be honest. I think we don't look around a lot of teams. That's, and I get it. You're a Red Sox fan, you're focused on that. But I will do that and look, and even look in AAA and see. Like Francisco Alvarez was in AAA a lot, and that's a really pretty good backup to have. But I don't know if any situations are better, and I don't know, what the Red Sox were offered. But yeah, I'm concerned about that. And if he's out for, they say he's going to play Friday, but I don't know. I don't know if they just don't want to. Sometimes they don't want to say things that are happening, like if he's going to be out long term, because it does create a lot of panic. And it might not be absolutely true yet until the trainers say. I wanted to quickly point this out. I've heard some people say the American League's not tough, and I don't know where that's coming from. I've heard it's wide open. I think the National League is wide open. I think any of the playoff teams could win the World Series, win the pennant. If the Mets ended up winning it, in San Diego, nothing would surprise me really in both leagues. But you think about the run the Red Sox went on, right? And I know people were critical about the schedule and all that, which I get. That bought you a little insurance, because had you not played great, and last year they didn't against some bad teams at the second half, you're only a game and a half ahead of Cleveland and Texas. They're hanging in there. And Kansas City's kind of got an outside shout. You can hear them a little bit. We're here. They're 4 back. But with all of the winning, and I should say Cleveland and Texas are not a game and a half behind Boston, but they're a game and a half out of that final playoff spot behind the Yankees. They're hanging in there. You've got 5 legit teams, and with Kansas City, make it 5.5. So the winning you've done has really bought you a little bit, in case because you got to figure that they're going to have some struggles. This is going to be a tough road trip. And again, I'll take 3-3, and I'll honestly take 2-4. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm just realistic that the road is tough. And when you look, I'm looking in the American League right now. Let's see. The American League's a little bit better. You got Toronto is 1 over on the road. Detroit, Houston, 2 over on the road. Cleveland, 2 over on the road. And Seattle is 1 over. Those are the best road records in the AL. And the Red Sox are 25-30 away from Fenway. But I am concerned about Narvaez's injury. And I also want to let everyone know, this is going to be an interesting time, because they're going to make these changes in AAA. Sandlin's going to be a reliever pretty much. I think that they're grooming him to be 1 inning. I heard the multi-inning. I don't think that's the case. He got taken out after 33 pitches the other night. I think they want him to be maybe in the Jordan Hicks role, and we'll see how Peyton Tolle. He's going to start. They're going to keep him stretched out. And we'll see what happens with Jostinson Garcia, because he's going to play first base soon, believe next week. We'll see how that looks. And they're going to evaluate these things, see how it looks, and they'll make changes. But I like what they have, some of the depth pieces in AAA with Nick Burdi, with Cooper Criswell, who wasn't great last night as a starter, Bernardino still, Zach Kelly, Nate Eaton. They got some depth pieces in. So, I mentioned Nate Eaton. That was a setup, because from you guys have the hardest handles to pronounce. So you challenge me. It's F from Matt Orav1. From Matt Orav1. My favorite player of the minors that was on the Red Sox this season is Nate Eaton. Yeah, he's a lot of our favorite players. JP Ricciardi loves Nate Eaton, one of our former GM who does games with us. I would have brought him up when Meyer went down. I like Hamilton's speed, so I understood why they chose him. But Eaton is almost as fast. Yeah. And I like his tools better. We said the same thing on the broadcast. I absolutely agree with that. Might have one of the best arms in the organization. He threw a ball, I think, 98 from left field one day. Almost 100. I agree with you. And I don't know if... So here's another thing with that. We kind of knew that position, that spot on the team that got called up wasn't going to play. So maybe they do think more of Nate Eaton where they want him playing, they want him ramped up in case of something happening, right? If something were to happen, they're okay with him playing every day. It would be hard for Hamilton to go in a role like that because he's not playing. But Nate Eaton's playing every day. Same with Grissom. At Nicholas Pratt, 79.85. If Sox waited to extend Crochet, it would have been $300 million. Exactly. That was risk. A lot of people thought, even when they traded for him, wow, they're trading for a guy that we don't know if he can really be a starter. But they did. They made that decision. They gave up 4 players, which I still don't think's a lot in the grand to get that kind of guy. They gave him a lot of money early. There's risk. And they said, we're doing it. We don't care. This is what we think. But you're right. It might be more than that, Nicholas. If you think about it. A guy like that. At George White, 5810. Thanks, Mike. I went back and forth the other night. You and JP were really good. Thank you. JP was so informative. He is. I asked a lot of questions. I was hoping you guys and gals were watching because I asked him questions that I wanted a lot of you to hear. He talked about how trades are not done last minute. You know, he completely debunks the Joe Ryan stuff. That was in the works for weeks. I trust JP. He was a big league GM. He knows more than any national or local writer. No offense to them. But I will not trust their opinion over his. And JP's pretty connected still. You're not a big league GM and you don't know things. He talked about how AGMs will talk about stuff before, but he told me, and he even told me this off air, that there's no way that thing got to the last minute and they just started talking that hour. He said this could have been going on months before. And George is happy about Roman Anthony signing. That's how we'll finish on a Thursday edition of Red Sox Now. If you're looking for baseball on a Thursday afternoon, the Woo Sox are playing at noon. You can watch that on the Bally's app. This doesn't make any sense. MILB is a subscription to watch minor league baseball, but for some reason Bally's has this deal where the games are free. So it cuts into our business. You might be saying, why would you promote that? I go, because they're a partner. They actually we promote it all the time. It's weird, but it's free if you want to watch some of the stars down there. Joe Stinson and maybe Sandlin pitches today. Thank you for watching Red Sox Now. Subscribe to the channel. It's all presented by Fan Arch, and we'll talk to you on Friday.